Harry's reckless betrayal. UK Parliament moves to strip poor Duke title. Well now, gather round, because we've got some truly seismic news rumbling out of London this week. And frankly, it's news that many of us have been waiting for. There are deafening calls, right at the very highest levels, to finally strip Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, of his royal titles. And this isn't just chatter in the tabloids anymore. Oh no, this is real. This is official. This is parliamentary. The House of Lords, that most ancient and prestigious legislative chamber in Britain, has actually launched a formal petition. A petition to essentially reclaim the Dukedom of Sussex. And the message from fed-up Brits across the country, from Sussex itself to the furthest corners of the realm, is crystal clear. Enough is enough. Now, you might ask, why now? Haven't we been hearing these calls for years? Yes, we have. But something fundamental has shifted. This isn't just about disappointment or frustration anymore. This is about a line being crossed, repeatedly, and the very dignity of the crown being brought into question. We are witnessing what can only be described as a royal disaster brewing. And this time, the consequences for Prince Harry may be the most profound yet. He could finally lose the one thing he seems to cling to most desperately, despite having supposedly rejected it, his title. And the crown, it seems, is preparing to slam the door shut, permanently. We're going to dive deep into this unprecedented move, exploring exactly why it's happening, the legal muscle behind it, and what it means for the future of the monarchy and, yes, for Harry and Meghan themselves. Because this isn't just a symbolic rebuke, it feels like a catastrophic unraveling of any residual legitimacy Harry has desperately tried to hold on to. Let's just take a moment to remember how we got here. It feels like a lifetime ago, but cast your minds back to early 2020, when Harry and Meghan announced their intention to step back as senior royals. We were told they wanted a different life, financial independence, a break from the spotlight. Many of us, perhaps naively, wished them well. But what we've seen since then hasn't been stepping back. It's been leveraging their royal status on a scale that's simply breathtaking. And it's the continuous stream of public pronouncements, interviews, and commercial ventures, all seemingly designed to trash the very family and institution they left, that has brought us to this point. Think about that infamous interview with Oprah Winfrey. Vague but explosive allegations of racism within the family. Claims of a lack of support, painted as a picture of victimhood. It sent shockwaves not just through Britain, but around the world. And while Harry tried to paint a picture of still being close to his grandmother, the late Queen, we're finding out the truth, as one friend of the royal family, Hugo Vickers, revealed recently. The Queen was so fearful of Harry and Meghan after those interviews that she wouldn't even want to be alone with them. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? The trust, it seemed, was completely shattered. And clearly for many in Parliament now, it felt like a calculated, commercially motivated attack. More grievances aired, more private moments laid bare for public consumption, all under the guise of telling their side. And who could forget the memoir? Spare. Harry laid bare the most intimate details of his life, his relationships with his father, King Charles, and his brother, Prince William. He ridiculed his family members, particularly William, painting a picture of deep animosity and perceived slights. He even took aim at Queen Camilla. It felt like a complete and utter betrayal of the bond of family, let alone the loyalty expected of a royal. This wasn't just telling his story. It was weaponizing family secrets for millions of dollars. But it's not just the trashing of the family that has angered the British public and, crucially, those in Parliament. It's Harry's seemingly reckless misuse of his royal identity in the realm of politics. We were always taught that the royal family remains strictly neutral in political matters, both at home and abroad. It's a cornerstone of their role in a constitutional monarchy. Yet, Prince Harry has openly waded into American politics, criticizing the First Amendment, that fundamental right to free speech in the U.S., and describing it as bonkers. He's aligned himself with highly partisan political groups in California, engaging in activities that are utterly incompatible with the neutrality demanded of anyone bearing a British royal title. This is where it becomes truly dangerous, isn't it? A British duke, a member of the royal family by birth, is actively engaging in political commentary and aligning with partisan groups in a foreign country, while still using his British title. It smacks of using that inherited prestige, that royal mystique, to lend legitimacy to a particular political agenda overseas. Royal watchers and constitutional experts have warned that this amounts to title laundering or even title trafficking, leveraging a royal identity for personal or political gain in a way that undermines the very institution that bestowed it. This isn't just tabloid gossip. It's real. It's official. It's parliamentary. And it has Prince Harry reportedly seething with rage, unable to contain his fury as the institution he once abandoned is now poised to sever one of his last remaining royal ties. The petition introduced in the House of Lords is centered around Section 1 of the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917. Now, why is that significant? Because that's the same legislative tool, the same legal hammer that was used to strip titles from royals who fought for enemy nations during World War I. Think about that, being put in the same legal category as those who sided against Britain in a world war. The relevance, they are arguing, is that Harry's behavior, though not treasonous in the military sense of fighting for an enemy, has constituted a profound betrayal of Britain's moral and constitutional principles. They are arguing that his continuous meddling in American politics, his attacks on the crown, and his commercial exploitation of his title are, in a sense, morally treasonous against the dignity of the monarchy. This isn't a fringe movement. This petition, introduced by a coalition of lords including senior conservative peers and crossbench members, is being reviewed in earnest. And it's pushing this discussion into mainstream parliamentary debate. According to official parliamentary records, this is being taken very seriously. Within days of going live, the petition has already amassed tens of thousands of public signatures, and more importantly, it sparked robust backing from members of both the House of Lords and the Commons. This is no symbolic protest. This is institutional action with constitutional teeth. What lit the match? Harry's continuous meddling in American politics. Something utterly incompatible with the neutrality demanded of anyone bearing a British royal title. Most infamously, he openly criticized the First Amendment, describing it as bonkers, while at the same time aligning himself with highly partisan political groups in California, all while still using their Duke and Duchess branding. Royal watchers and constitutional experts have warned that this amounts to title laundering, leveraging a royal identity to legitimize radical messaging overseas. And when you carry a title bestowed upon you by the crown, that conduct matters. Contrary to Harry's assumptions, peerage titles are not invincible. Legal experts like Professor Vernon Bogdanor, one of Britain's foremost constitutional authorities, have confirmed that Parliament holds the power to revoke royal dukedoms, especially when it serves national interest or moral justice. The 1917 Titles Deprivation Act is just one tool available. And Prince Harry, say insiders, is squarely in their crosshairs. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. This is the beginning of a formal process to potentially erase Harry's aristocratic legacy. Parliament is watching. The public is angry, and the crown is tired of the drama. The days of Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, may be numbered. Since his departure from royal duties in 2020, Harry has made an international career out of throwing his own family under the bus. From the now infamous Oprah Winfrey interview, British lawmakers now argue that Harry has crossed into treasonous terrain. Not legally, but symbolically. How can a man who sells intimate family grievances for profit still claim to represent the dignity of the United Kingdom? Many in Parliament say he can't. His conduct has been branded vile, vindictive, and commercially motivated. And now, Parliament is finally prepared to act. There is no trust when it comes to Prince Harry, and the picture he tries to paint with Queen Elizabeth even saying during that BBC interview that the Queen wanted him to have this level of security. We're finding out the truth, and it's that she was bothered by them. Others have proposed a modern legislative remedy, tailored to hold future royals accountable when they betray the crown, endanger Britain's reputation, or convert noble status into political propaganda. With public opinion against him, political pressure mounting, and legal precedent backing Parliament, Prince Harry's aristocratic identity is hanging by a thread. What's more damning, even traditional Labour voters, typically more Republican in sentiment, believe Harry has gone too far. Recent polling from YouGov and the Daily Mail paints a devastating picture. 62% of British citizens now support removing Harry's Duke of Sussex title. That number climbs even higher, over 70%. Among conservative and older voters, the demographic most loyal to the monarchy. Even constituents in Sussex, the region his title supposedly honors, have signed the House of Lords petition in droves, claiming they've been embarrassed and politically misrepresented by Harry's antics in America. Simply put, the British people are done with Prince Harry, and Parliament is beginning to act accordingly. Here lies the most cynical hypocrisy of all. Despite loudly rejecting royal life, Harry and Meghan continue to exploit their Sussex titles for commercial gain. Their Netflix deal was signed under Archewell Productions, but it was the label Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, that Netflix flaunted in every press release. On Spotify, their now failed podcast archetypes banked on the Sussex name. Even their children, Archie and Lilibet, are being branded as Prince and Princess in marketing materials and media coverage, despite their parents' supposed desire for privacy. Observers across Britain and the U.S. have called it title trafficking, using inherited prestige as a brand identity while engaging in behavior totally divorced from the honor that title is supposed to reflect. Constitutional scholar Philip Murphy told The Times, "No other British noble has weaponized their title so brazenly for Hollywood stardom and political commentary." This isn't public service. This is branding. In Britain, titles are conferred for duty, tradition, and responsibility, not for clickbait, memoir deals, and Netflix drama. Harry is now seen as the living embodiment of aristocratic fraud, an absentee duke, pocketing millions off a crown he swore to distance himself from. And here's the stinging irony. If Harry were a true private citizen, his public whining and political meddling would be irrelevant. But the fact that he does all this while clinging to Duke of Sussex makes it a constitutional and reputational crisis for the UK. Buckingham Palace has said nothing publicly, and that silence is louder than words. Insiders confirm that King Charles is aware of the petition and is monitoring the situation closely. He could, in theory, remove Harry's titles via letters patent, just as Queen Elizabeth did when she stripped Prince Andrew of his military titles and royal patronages. But the palace is choosing not to act, at least not openly. Why? Because this isn't about revenge. It's about letting Parliament and the British people deliver justice. A constitutional process shields the monarchy from looking petty, while allowing public consensus and legislative authority to do the heavy lifting. As royal biographer Robert Lacey noted, King Charles doesn't want this to be seen as a father punishing a son. He wants it to be seen as the institution rejecting a liability. Even more telling is the silence of Prince William, who has reportedly washed his hands of his brother. William is said to be fully aware of the petition and offers no objection to its progression. He reportedly views Harry's title as damaging to the royal family's reputation, especially when used abroad for partisan gain. In short, the Windsors have moved on. The Crown is speaking through silence, and it's letting the public, the peers, and Parliament send Harry a message louder than any royal decree. You walked away. Now the door is closing behind you. The fuse has been lit. With public support rising, commercial exploitation exposed, and the royal family quietly backing away, Prince Harry may soon face the ultimate humiliation, being legally stripped of the very title that gives his celebrity any weight at all. The title he once wore with pride may soon be torn away, not out of vengeance, but in defense of dignity. Stay tuned, because the walls of Montecito are shaking. Prince Harry isn't immune. There is precedent for stripping royal titles, and Parliament has done it before. In 1917, King George V invoked the Titles Deprivation Act to strip German-aligned royals of their British peerages during World War I. Entire branches of the royal family lost their dukedoms, including the Duke of Albany and the Duke of Cumberland. Today, lawmakers are applying the same logic. Harry is no longer aligned with the crown, but with Netflix, Spotify, and partisan American causes. The Lords argue that his behavior, while not treason in wartime terms, is morally treasonous against the dignity of the monarchy. They are also citing the 2022 precedent of Prince Andrew, who was stripped of his royal patronages and military honors after public outrage over his association with Jeffrey Epstein. If Andrew could lose them due to scandal, they ask, why should Harry be protected while undermining British interests abroad? Here's what's at stake for Harry. If Parliament succeeds in revoking his Duke of Sussex title, his entire brand collapses overnight. His introductions on red carpets, interviews, charity events, and boardrooms will no longer say His Royal Highness or Duke of Sussex. He'll be Mr. Harry Windsor, a titleless expatriate known more for tabloid drama than achievement. And in Hollywood, where his status hinges on royal mystique, the value of brand Sussex drops to zero. Meghan's lifestyle blog and Netflix ventures are built on the illusion of royalty. Strip that away, and they're just two reality stars with a grudge. With public opinion against him, political pressure mounting, and legal precedent backing Parliament, Prince Harry's aristocratic identity is hanging by a thread. Make no mistake. If this petition succeeds, Prince Harry will suffer the ultimate royal disgrace, not by exile, but by erasure. From duke to nobody, from decorated soldier to public cautionary tale. This isn't just about a title. It's about truth, loyalty, and consequence. And Prince Harry? He's running out of all three.
Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the shocking, verbatim leaked correspondence concerning Prince Harry and Her late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, obtained via a high-level whistleblower with direct access to Invictus Games. Internal communications. These documents paint a devastating picture of a prince brought to his knees, his pleas ignored, his royal standing utterly humiliated. The usually hallowed halls of Buckingham Palace, or at least the digital corridors connecting its far-flung former members, were rocked today by a leak of such magnitude it threatened to overshadow even the Sussexes' most controversial pronouncements. This wasn't a vague accusation on a podcast, nor a tearful anecdote in a multi-million-dollar Netflix docuseries. This was cold, hard, digital print and email, allegedly penned by Prince Harry himself to his grandmother, the late Queen Elizabeth II, in the tumultuous run-up to the 2022 Invictus Games in The Hague. And the source of this explosive leak, none other than a disgruntled, and now apparently vocal, co-founder of the very games Harry held so dear, a figure once considered a trusted ally, now seemingly a formidable foe. The revelation sent instantaneous shockwaves across the globe. For years, Prince Harry had positioned the Invictus Games as his singular, unblemished passion project, a testament to his enduring commitment to wounded warriors, a shining beacon of his post-royal purpose. But this leaked email, if authentic, stripped away that veneer of noble altruism, exposing a raw, desperate, and ultimately humiliated prince, begging for concessions that would, in the end, be ruthlessly denied. The co-founder, who has chosen to remain anonymous for now, speaking through encrypted channels to a select group of investigative journalists, claimed their conscience would no longer allow them to stand by and watch the Invictus Games be used as a platform for personal pour and royal score settling. The decision to leak the email, they stated, was excruciating but necessary to preserve the integrity of the games and the sacrifices of the athletes it represents. The email itself, dated mere weeks before the Hague Games, is a masterclass in thinly veiled panic and royal entitlement. Dressed up as concern for security and family unity, and it reportedly begins with an uncharacteristically formal, almost subservient tone from Harry, a stark contrast to the defiant public persona he had cultivated since Megxit. Dearest Granny, the alleged email starts, a term of endearment that now feels almost poignant in its lost innocence. I hope this message finds you well. As the Invictus Games in The Hague approach, Megan and I, along with our team, have been working tirelessly to ensure its success, not only for the incredible competitors, but also as a testament to the enduring spirit you have always championed. So far, soothing, but then the tone shifts. The email reportedly details Harry's grave concerns regarding the security arrangements, or rather, the lack thereof for himself and Meghan, particularly given their recent outspokenness and the UK Home Office's controversial decision to downgrade their taxpayer-funded police protection. While we have, of course, made our own private security arrangements, Harry is alleged to have written, his words dripping with an undercurrent of resentment, the symbolic importance of visible royal protection at an event so closely associated with my service to Crown and country cannot be overstated. It is not merely a matter of personal safety, Granny, but a matter of respect. Respect for the games, respect for the Crown's involvement, and indeed, respect for my family's safety on European soil. This, insiders suggest, was the crux of Harry's desperate plea. He wasn't just asking for a few extra bodyguards. He was, in essence, demanding a reinstatement, however temporary, of the full, high-level, state-funded security detail he had so publicly relinquished. He was asking for the appearance of continued royal importance, a visual confirmation that he was still a cherished, senior member of the firm, despite everything. The email then reportedly takes a more personal, almost manipulative turn, invoking the names of his children, Archie and Lilibet. Megan and I would be devastated if security concerns prevented us from bringing Archie and Lilibet to share in this momentous occasion, to witness firsthand the incredible bravery of these servicemen and women, for them to be denied this experience, for them to be denied the chance to connect with this vital part of my legacy, due to perceived security lapses, would be a source of profound sadness for us all. Royal commentators were quick to pounce on this. This is emotional blackmail, pure and simple. One veteran palace reporter declared on a breaking news segment, he's using his children, using the Invictus athletes, to try and strong-arm the Queen into granting him privileges he himself chose to give up. It's astoundingly audacious. But the most humiliating part of the leaked email, the section that reportedly left palace aides aghast and even seasoned royal watchers speechless, was Harry's alleged request regarding his military uniforms and official royal ciphers. Furthermore, Granny, the email continues, the desperation now almost palpable through the typed words. As Captain General of the Royal Marines, a role I cherished and served with utmost dedication, and which, as you know, was so painfully stripped from me, I feel it would be immensely appropriate, and indeed send a powerful message of unity and continuity, if I were permitted to wear my uniform during the official opening and closing ceremonies. Similarly, the use of my royal cipher on Invictus Games materials, in a manner befitting my status as your grandson and a former senior working royal, would mean a great deal, not just to me, but to the many servicemen and women who still look to me for leadership and inspiration. This was the begging bowl laid bare. Harry, the self-proclaimed champion of breaking free from royal constraints, was now reportedly pleading to be allowed to cosplay as the royal he once was. He wanted the uniform, the trappings, the symbols of the very institution he and Meghan had so publicly criticized. It was a stunning contradiction. A window into a psyche seemingly torn between a desire for independence and an unshakable, perhaps even subconscious, craving for royal validation. The Invictus Games co-founder, in their statement accompanying the leak, did not mince words.
This email demonstrated,
to me and others within the Invictus leadership, that Prince Harry's priorities had become dangerously skewed. The games were no longer solely about the athletes. They had become a stage for his personal grievances and his attempts to renegotiate his royal standing by proxy. We saw a man more concerned with which uniform he could wear than with the logistical challenges facing disabled veterans traveling from war-torn countries. The Queen's alleged response, according to palace sources, who claim to have been privy to the internal deliberations, was polite, firm, and utterly unyielding. While no official reply has been leaked yet, the outcome is public record. Harry did not wear his military uniform at the Invictus Games ceremonies in The Hague, appearing instead in a simple suit. His calls for enhanced, state-funded security were reportedly met with a bureaucratic brick wall, citing established policy. The royal ciphers were nowhere to be seen. The humiliation, according to the co-founder, was profound for Harry. He arrived in The Hague looking deflated, their statement continued. There was a distinct lack of his usual ebullience. He went through the motions, of course, and he is undeniably passionate about the athletes. But behind the scenes, there was a palpable sense of resentment, of having been publicly rebuffed by his own grandmother, on his own turf, so to speak. The leak has ignited a firestorm of debate. Supporters of Harry and Meghan decry it as a vicious, calculated betrayal, another attempt by shadowy palace forces to discredit them. They argue Harry was merely acting as a concerned husband and father, and a dedicated patron, trying to ensure the safety and dignity of an event close to his heart. But critics see it as undeniable proof of the Sussexes' alleged hypocrisy and their insatiable desire for the perks of royalty without the responsibilities. He wants his cake and to eat it too, thundered one prominent anti-Sussex commentator on social media. He burns the royal bridges, then begs for a royal motorcade to cross the ashes. The sheer nerve. The timing of the leak is also suspect, coming just as Harry is reportedly planning another high-profile return to the UK for an Invictus-related event. Is this a warning shot from within the Invictus organization itself? A sign that patience with Harry's Sussex circus, as one critic dubbed it, is wearing thin even amongst his former allies? The co-founder's statement offers a clue. The Invictus Games are bigger than any one individual, prince or otherwise. Its soul is the resilience of our wounded warriors. When that soul is threatened by personal agendas, by attempts to co-opt its message for private gain or public feuds, then those of us who helped build it have a duty to speak out, no matter how painful. The email, now seared into the public consciousness, reveals a Prince Harry far removed from the confident, carefree figure of his youth, or even the defiant truth-teller of recent years. It paints a picture of a man wrestling with his diminished status, desperate for symbols of his former life, willing to leverage his children and his signature charity to achieve them. It shows a man who, despite his protestations of wanting a normal life, had still craved the validation and the visible trappings of the royal world he had so spectacularly abandoned. The alleged plea to Granny was not just about uniforms or security. It was about relevance, about significance, about a desperate, perhaps subconscious, desire to rewind the clock to a time when he was unequivocally His Royal Highness Prince Harry, a cherished senior royal, not just Harry, Duke of Sussex, resident of Montecito. The leak of this desperate email has done more than just embarrass Prince Harry. It has chipped away at the very foundations of his post-royal identity. The Invictus Games, once his unassailable triumph, is now tainted by association with this private plea, this public humiliation. And as the world dissects every word, every implied request, the question lingers: how many more such private moments, such desperate appeals, lie hidden, waiting to be exposed? And what will be left of Prince Harry's carefully constructed narrative when all the secrets are finally laid bare? The co-founder ended their explosive statement with a chilling premonition. This email is just the tip of the iceberg. There are other communications, other incidents, that paint an even more troubling picture of how the Invictus Games have been drawn into the Sussexes' personal battles. The athletes deserve better. The cause deserves better. And the truth, however uncomfortable, must prevail. The silence from the Sussex camp in response to this leak has been deafening. Their usual rapid response PR machine, so quick to issue denials or counter-accusations, has remained eerily quiet. Perhaps, for once, they understand that some revelations are too damning to spin, some truths too raw to deny. Prince Harry, the warrior prince, the Invictus champion, reportedly begged his grandmother for a uniform and was denied. And in that denial, in that leaked plea, lies a story of royal power, personal desperation, and a humiliation that will undoubtedly haunt him for years to come. The games, it seemed, have only just begun.